Okay, good evening and welcome to the Sport and Leisure webinar. My name's Nancy Wall and this is Jo Cook, and we're here this evening to answer any questions people have about the Sport and Leisure course at Queen Elizabeth Sixth Form College. I can see people are still loading on, so we will make a start. But should you have any questions throughout this, please just pop them into the chat box and we'll try and get through as many questions as possible. Like anything else, there is no such thing as a bad question. If you want to know something, please do ask us and we will try and respond to all of the questions as we go. We will start, sorry, it's in the question and answer box, not the chat box. I've been told by technical support. So if you've got any questions, just pop them in the Q&A box and we will get through those questions. So sport, what do we actually offer? At QE, we actually offer two different courses. We offer a single qualification and a double qualification. And Joe's going to chat through the difference between single and double.
Yeah, so exactly sort of as the name tells you. So the single, if you do the single for 2 years, it's the equivalent of one A-level. So if you studied any A-level at college, the single course is exactly the same size as one A-level. If you do the double course, so double sport and leisure, you study twice as long with us. So you will have 10 hours with us a week rather than 5 hours. But at the end of the second year, you come out with the equivalent of 2 A-levels. So that's the major difference, is the size of the qualification. Obviously at QE, you only study 3 subjects. So if you do the single, you would do 2 subjects alongside us. If you did the double, you would only do 1 subject alongside us. In terms of how they're assessed, so they are slightly different. The single award is around 66%, so about 2/3 coursework, 1/3 is examined, as opposed to the double, which is 100% coursework. So if you do double sport, there are no exams throughout the 2 years of that course.
And all of the courses are unit based, so we will study a number of different units over either 1 or 2 years. And the positive about that is there's lots of different topics that we actually cover. Both courses, either single or double, do have some sort of central themes that we cover on both courses. So anatomy, physiology, body systems. We look at things such as sports coaching, exercise for specific groups, sports nutrition, event management, etc. So lots of themes that run through both courses. Will there be a lot of coursework, somebody asks. On a 100% course, absolutely, everything you do is coursework. On the single course, it's 66% coursework. On the double, it's 100% coursework. However, what we actually do in terms of coursework, we do assess you in lots of different ways. We have practical units in there in which you may be doing some sports coaching, and in that you're assessed as you coach an individual. So it's not necessarily writing all the time. There's lots of different aspects to it. So sports coaching, as I say, you're assessed coaching. You could do a presentation, you could produce some marketing materials, you could actually run an event. There is an element of coursework that's written, of course, but not 100% of it. What's the difference in terms of PE and sport and leisure, Joe? As somebody would like to know.
So we get this question quite a lot. The biggest difference, I'm not sure whether obviously you've just done the PE webinar because that was previous to ours. The biggest difference is the assessment. So in A-level PE, obviously 70% of that A-level is exams, so is examined. 30% is coursework or practical. So on A-level PE, you are assessed as a practical performer, whereas on sport and leisure, obviously the assessment is completely different. So on the double, 100% coursework. On the single, it's about 2/3 coursework, 1/3 practical coaching. On that coaching, you are not assessed as a performer. So we in sport and leisure only ever assess you coaching somebody else, not physically participating in a sport. So that does play to some students' strengths. But like I said, that is sort of the major difference between the two courses, is how they are examined. And we do have a number of students who do single sport and leisure with PE as well. So there is the option of tying the two together and then choosing a third option sort of from a different area of college.
We find a lot of students actually give up doing sort of club-based sports when they move on to college, and we don't have a need for anybody to be doing club-based sport at that level week in, week out. Whereas PE, you do have to be playing sport at a certain level. So because we're not assessing you as a competitor, we're assessing you as a coach. There's no need for that. So that does make us more accessible for some students. Somebody has said, what's the best part of the course? I would say that depends who you ask. There's lots of different parts of the course. Lots of students like our course because it's coursework based, and therefore you get your work marked, you get feedback on each piece of work that you then can improve, which increases your grade. Last year and for the last 3 years, we've had 94% higher grades, which are 94% at A star, A and B, and getting that feedback is one positive to the course. Being assessed in lots of different ways, other students would say, is a highlight of the course. Doing a very diverse range of subjects. So we go from doing anatomy and physiology to investigating somebody's diet in terms of their nutritional intake, to delivering activity sessions for old people in care homes, or looking at provision for sport for people with disabilities. So it's a wide range. In doing all of these different aspects, we do offer you a lot of other skills that you can actually gain whilst you're on the course, lots of softer skills. So teamwork, project management, working to deadlines, managing resources, working under your own steam and initiative, problem solving, all those skills that employers are actually looking for, and all those skills that you'd actually need to move on to university successfully. So I would say we do a huge amount in terms of not just providing you with A levels and high quality qualifications to allow you to move on in life. We provide you with more of a package that develop you as an individual, and we offer you the opportunity to do additional things and on top of that. So lots of our students take part in first aid qualifications, they do dementia awareness qualifications, coaching qualifications, and these are all the additional things you can actually do with us that make you more appealing to university entrance people and to employers. So it's a whole package really. Okay, Joe, with it being coursework, does it go well alongside traditional A levels?
Yeah, so we get a lot of students who do sort of a mixed program. So they might study they might do double sport and do one A level alongside it. We have a lot of students who now do single sport with 2 A levels alongside it. So they might be doing, I don't know, maths, physics, and then they do sport and leisure as their third option. So we do get a lot of students on the single course who are doing 2 A levels alongside it. They feel it sort of plays to the strengths a little bit because when we get to the end of the year, or when they get to the end of the second year, the vast majority of their sport and leisure content has been covered, has been signed off, has been moderated, and they've got that grade sort of already in the bag. So we'll have students who are getting a distinction star at the end of the second year, which is exactly the equivalent to an A star at A level. They're then going into their exams for their A levels, knowing that they've already got one sort of distinction star in the bag. And it sort of breaks up their week a little bit. So if they're going into 2 classes that are going to be heavily sort of exam dominated, preparing them for exams, they then come to us. Obviously a little bit more coursework environment. We've got the practical elements within the course as well. So it breaks up their week a little bit as well, rather than doing 3 heavily sort of exam based subjects.
Okay, somebody's asked, is there any differences between progression opportunities for PE and sport and leisure? In the main, no. Most universities want students who have done well, gained good UCAS points, and achieved and shown that they can actually learn and apply that learning. There are a couple of courses where you have to be careful because of the science content of PE. Physiotherapy is one that we would look at, but that is done by university, and they might ask for particular qualifications, and some only accept PE and science-based qualifications, one of the straightforward A levels. That's probably the only difference between us and PE in terms of progression. Our students progress onto all sorts of courses at all sorts of universities. We've got students at Newcastle, Northumbria, York, all over the place. Teachers, accountants, business degrees. We've got people who've gone in to do pharmaceuticals, all sorts of different things. So this is a stepping stone to wherever people want to go. So no real differences, except in terms of physiotherapy. And we would also always suggest you get careers advice before opting for us and physio. The exam in sport is one called Body Systems. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that, Joe, because it's your specialty?
Yeah, so that's only the single sport students do the exam. So double sport, like we said, is 100% coursework. In terms of the single sport students, how the sort of year works is in the first year, it's 50-50. So 50% of the course is sports coaching, 50% is body systems. So that's an exam that's sat at the end of the first year. So it looks at things like the skeletal system, muscular system, energy systems, a lot of things that you'll have studied if you've done GCSE PE and possibly BTEC sport. So the exam is quite a lot of it is short answer questions. So there's a lot of multiple choice questions, a lot of short answer questions, and then one sort of longer response towards the end of that paper. But like I said, in terms of how it's split, the first year is half coaching, half body systems. Then when we go into the second year, the exam's a lot smaller, so it's only one of 3 units that we study, and that looks at things like national governing bodies, participation in sport, and sort of current issues in sport. So that's sort of how the 2 years work in terms of how we do the exam as well.
Okay, somebody's asked, do specific teachers teach specific units, such as specialists? Joe's laughing because I know exactly what he's going to say. Joe and I tend to teach the majority of the sport. We're quite a small team. There's 4 members of staff. We all teach towards areas that we actually favour. And Joe's laughing because I do not own a pair of trainers. Joe teaches all of the coaching units and things like sports development because that's where his background lies. I teach the other units where my background lies. So yeah, we do have specialties, although we are all qualified to teach right across. We all do update our work experience in different areas to make sure we're as up to date as possible. And we're all always doing professional development in terms of taking on additional courses to make sure that we're up with whatever's happening in sport. We're a very, very everything we teach is what's happening currently. So I'm teaching about current issues in terms of racism, sexism, homophobia in sport, and we're looking at things that are actually happening in the news at the moment in relation to that. In terms of racism, we've looked at the Black Lives Matter movement. In terms of homophobia, we're looking at issues that have happened in football clubs recently. So we do try and keep everything very, very current, including our professional development. Joe, are there any specific entry requirements?
So entry requirements for us are the general college entry requirements, which would be 5 passes at 4 and above. So we just look for the general college entry requirements.
Okay, and somebody's asked what class sizes are like. Class sizes lie around 15 to 17. In sport, I would say it's slightly more male orientated, probably 2/3 male to 1/3 female. But with class sizes of that size, you do get enough time to talk to us. And that's probably maximum class size. We do have classes that are slightly smaller. Somebody said if they want to be a PE teacher, which course would be better to take between the two? It depends course to course, doesn't it, Joe? I don't think that particularly.
Yeah, I would say there's obviously we know students who've done PE, who've done sport and leisure, who are now doing sort of PE teaching degrees at university. So I would say it wouldn't make any difference between the two. Obviously, one of the things that we look at is obviously building those extra things into work experience, a lot of sort of additional content that will obviously help you sort of on that route. But I would say looking at PE teaching, there'd be no sort of difference between the two. Because what a lot of teachers do now, they'll go to university, they'll study, I don't know, a physical education degree or a sports science degree, and then do their teaching qualification after they've finished that degree. So there's not much difference between the two. And like I said before, we do get quite a lot of students who if they know they want to study sport sort of down the line, might go the route of doing single sport with PE with another option. But no difference between the two.
And the best thing to do is take careers advice and find out university to university, because they're all different. Somebody's asked about UCAS points. We're exactly the same as any other level 3 qualification. An A star for us is worth 56 UCAS points and all the way through. So a distinction star is an A star, 56, and then a distinction is an A, etc. So exactly the same. And if you go onto UCAS, they do have a UCAS points tariff, and you can type in and it'll give you the comparisons of where everything lies, but we're no different. In terms of coaching, what age groups would we be coaching on the course? What we try and do is get you as much experience as possible, so you teach right across the age groups. On the general coaching qualification, you will actually teach other people within your cohort, so other people of your age. But when we move on to do other units, we've taught primary school children age 4, we've taught junior schools age 11 up over, we've taught senior students, and we've taught old people, and we've taught in special schools for students with disabilities. So we try and get you as much experience as possible right across the age groups, and year to year that changes every single year, but it's about just getting you as much experience to make your portfolio and how you look to employers and universities the best as possible. Joe, what about...
Sorry, Nancy, I was just going to say, it's worth mentioning there as well, if you're coming into college and you do a sport that maybe we can't offer. So I'm just thinking, I have students at the minute who do equestrian, we've got some swimmers. You can coach within your club setting. That's absolutely fine. We would obviously just ask that you get some evidence of you coaching, so videos, photos. We'd ask your coach to do like a witness statement. But you can do your coaching in that club setting if it's a sport that we can't necessarily offer in college. If you do rugby, football, netball, obviously we run those at college, so you would coach other people within the group. If you do a slightly more specialized sport, there's no reason why you can't coach people in your club setting. Like I say, we just do that slightly differently.
Okay, and pass rate somebody's asked about. We have 100% pass rate and a 94% high grades rate. High grades being A star, A and B, and that's year in, year out. Our students do fantastically well, but it's not just about the pass rates and the high grades, it's everything else we can offer alongside, which makes them very, very attractive to employers and universities. So it's a whole package. What facilities do we have, Joe?
So in terms of, obviously in the college building, we have the sports hall. So we run a lot of sports, obviously in the sports hall with the equipment that we have in there. We also have Abbey Road playing fields. So up at Abbey Road playing fields, there is a rugby pitch and 3 football pitches. So obviously we use all the facilities up there as well. Like I said, if we are looking at doing some sports, what maybe we might need specialized facilities for, we do sometimes take students outside of college to do those. Obviously it's slightly different at the minute, but in a normal year, obviously, we do trips up to sort of Beamish Wilds, so looking at outdoor education, outdoor and adventurous activities. And we have used the Dolphin Centre in the past, again, looking at sort of the different sports that are on offer. Like I said, the vast majority of the coaching that we offer, our students need to complete, we've got the facilities at college to do that.
And again, to get the full experience, when we have to link into units, we take you out and about. So we've used Tees Barrage, we've been whitewater rafting, canoeing, we've also used archery, we've had people in to teach us fencing. So anything that we want to do, we will try and get a facility for that. How much extracurricular stuff is there that we can get involved in? There is absolutely loads of extracurricular stuff. We do actually have a college website, and on there you will find all of the extracurricular. We have a lot of team games, and in terms of our students, we offer them a lot of additional coaching qualifications and experiences to get involved in. The college website has a huge amount of information, not just about sport, but about the college environment and what it can offer you. And we have lots of social media that are really, really useful. Different departments have social media, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and after tonight, if you want further information or you actually want to look at ways to actually put an application into college, have a look at the college website, get all the information you want on there. There's links directly back to members of staff so you can ask additional questions, but there's loads of information, not just from staff, but also from students. We can sit here and say what a fantastic place it is and what a fantastic course it is, but when it actually comes from our students who've been through the process, enjoyed our courses, moved on and achieved in life, that's the best selling point for us, that we can actually show you. What are the students' favourite units, Joe? I've got a question.
I think it massively depends, obviously, student to student, because we have such sort of a vast range of students. A lot of our double sport students tend to favour the more practical units, so they will do coaching, they do fitness training and programming in the second year. We do a lot more sort of practical work with them. The single sport students, we have some students who might be doing 2 sort of science-based subjects alongside us. So it depends a lot of the time, student to student. And again, the current issues, a lot of students like, because we do a lot of sort of debating within the lessons, talking about current issues that are going on at the minute. So it plays to a lot of people's strengths. But again, what students favour depends on what sort of their interests are coming into college.
Okay, so we're at the end of our time. As I say, pop onto the college website, have a look at our social media. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. We hope you found it useful and hope to see you in September. Take care, everybody.